I find what, for me actually, even one of the bigger impacts is just in moment-to-moment awareness. I realize you can actually, if you're more present for each of the moments of your life, you are actually living a longer life. I mean, it may not actually extend your life, although maybe it will, but you're actually present for your life. And I feel like in the work I do, the last 20, 25 years since I've been a reporter, it's just gone by in a blur. And there's oftentimes, I've been on trips where it's not until the trip is done, I'm so focused on shooting a story and getting the story and making sure it's all, producing it in my head. It's not until I come back and I think, oh, that actually was a fun trip, or that was a interesting trip. I just don't feel like I'm present enough in my life. And that's, you wake up, I woke up being 50, this past June, and suddenly I'm like, where has my life gone? And I think mindfulness for me has helped a lot in just the last couple of years. Try to be more present. In the car on the way here, I'm just sitting in the car. I'm not on my phone in the car. I'm not talking. I'm not checking emails. I'm trying to, more often than not, the driver's engaging in a conversation with me about something on CNN. But if I'm not doing that, I'm just sitting silently, looking at things pass by, feeling the wind as it passes by, or whatever it may be.
So when you find you're doing just one thing, when you're just walking or sitting in a car, do you find yourself feeling antsy or anxious?
I absolutely did initially, but I mean, it's sort of baby steps. And after a while, walking becomes, you sort of realize, oh, there's actually stuff happening when you're walking. There's people passing you by. There's other human beings. And, or just life happens around you and you're much more aware of it, and it's better. Your day is better. You feel like you've been alive for more of your day. I just don't find these things give me any pleasure. I mean, yeah, occasionally something interesting will pop up or whatever, but I find more often than not, I just feel gross more at the end of the day. I mean, Twitter, I'm trying to stop altogether. I mean, I'll still read the news feeds that I follow, but I rarely tweet stuff now, and I rarely look at comments now, and my life is like demonstrably better.
Wow.
And it's just better. It's
That's
so much
great.
better. Which odd though is
nice.
my number of followers continues to grow even though I'm not tweeting. So I don't know, I'm on some like Russian bot algorithm that just is recommending me, I think. It's all the other, hours of my life when I'm not on TV, which is a little sick and kind of sad that I'm less present. So yeah.
So to live more fully, we need you to do 8 hours of TV a day, not
yes,
just 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I've done before, and I'm very present, but it's exhausting being that present.
Yeah.
So. But I think if you're in grief or experiencing grief, as we all have at one time or another in life, you want to be around other people who understand that. And so for me, that was a driving factor into becoming a reporter. I graduated my senior year of college as a blur. My brother had killed himself that summer. I took a year off. I didn't know what to do, and then I wanted to be around other people where life and death was very much an issue. And a friend of mine, a colleague or a place I was working, made a fake press pass for me. I borrowed a camera and I started going to wars because I wanted to be around others who spoke the language of loss, and I wanted to be places where life and death was very real, and where things felt, where I actually felt alive, and where, in a combat zone, the molecules of the air, it's like they're charged. It's a heightened reality. It's a heightened, you're never more alive than in a situation that's kinetic like that. And so for me, it was about, hearing other people's stories and learning how to survive survive from people who were dealing with that on every single day. I don't even do vacation very well. I don't think there has been a vacation that I've been on in the last 5 or 6 years that I've actually completed. I usually find a story nearby that I end up. It's true. I'll tell you a story. I brought a bunch of friends of mine to Rwanda to go see the mountain gorillas and also to go to the Genocide Museum, because Rwanda is one of my favorite countries also. And I've been going there since I was a teenager. Which was
seeing
weird
a theme
anyway.
here,
but so I brought a bunch of friends of mine to Africa, and to a bunch of different countries. We ended up in Rwanda, and I got to Rwanda, and it was like 4 people. They'd never been to Africa before. They really had no idea where they were or anything. And I happened to go to my hotel room when I first arrived and turn on the TV, and there was a report about a malnutrition crisis in Niger. And I was like, oh, Niger is not far from Rwanda. I think I'm going to go there. And so I called CNN up, and I was like, I think we should go to this malnutrition crisis happening right now. And I went down to dinner with my friends, and I said, I'm actually leaving to go to Niger. And I frankly wanted to get out of there. I was so thrilled to get away from them and go to something real that was happening. I mean, I like the idea of bringing them to see the mountain gorillas, but I was like, you know what? They can figure it out on their own. And
Right.
and literally, they looked at me like, you are such a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, you brought us to a place we don't know where we are. We don't know anything is happening.
They weren't wrong.
So anyway, I haven't talked to them for a while, but they were.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So.
But again, you know, I got to go to Niger to a town called Maradi, where there was this malnutrition crisis, and ended up with some doctors from Doctors Without Borders, and it was this extraordinary. You know, I spent a week there. It was the most extraordinary. You know, one of the most extraordinary weeks of my life, and it was transformational. And I come home, and I feel. You know, I've been gone for 3 days, and it feels like a lifetime for me, because I feel like the person I was at the beginning is not the person I am. And I come back, and my friends are like, "Oh yeah, I saw Blade Runner," and you know, which I want to see. But
Yeah.
to me, so after a while, I'm just like, why would I want to be here? I'd much rather be out there doing something like that.
So it's interesting because you're seeking a really particular kind of very human, very raw
Yes.
experience, and something that gets packaged as a vacation then becomes
Meaningless.
Yeah.
Yes.
So without vacations, but knowing that you get a lot of energy from things that are really real, but also really draining, how do you recharge in order to be able to show up again for another day?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big recharger. I mean, I don't think. I get asked this a lot about, like, you know, and I don't know that you need to recharge. I mean, I think that if you're doing things that are different, if it was the same thing day after day, you can get bored with it, or you can get overwhelmed by it. But that's, for me, the objective is to view everything all the time with soft eyes, as non-judgmentally as possible, so that I can bring the viewer along on a journey and let them experience what it's like. That gives me hope. And what gives me hope also is that in the midst of darkness, you know, you go to a war, disaster, you expect to see darkness, but you also find light. You know, you expect to see horror, but you find humanity as well. In the midst of the worst possible things, in the midst of the genocide in Rwanda, there were people who, you know, Hutus, who took in Tutsis and hid them in their homes from marauding gangs at risk of their own life. And to see that, you can't help but feel, you know, that that human beings have that potential. And we don't always live up to it, but we have that potential.